Good morning, everyone. Reverend Rainier is really a beacon of light for a lot of us, and she is a licensed minister, and she performs the most beautiful weddings and ceremonies and celebrations of life and things like that. And she is an artist, and she likes to consider herself a fun artist as opposed to a fine artist, which I think is really wonderful. And she's all about being creative, and we all are creators, and she creates with so much joy in everything that she does, in everything that she says, and she's really one of the most creative people I know, and I'm grateful to be friends with her. And some of her beautiful heart work is out in the lobby, so if you have time, take a look at her art, and it will beautify your life and your work and environment and things like that. And Reverend Rainier is a soul coach. She is a meditation and spiritual teacher and a motivational speaker, and we will have the honor of hearing her speak today. And I just would like to say that some of us are really put here for a purpose, and sometimes we don't know what that purpose is. And Rainier knows her purpose, and so she really supports us all to remember who we are all the time. And her website is windsongcreations.com. So if you'd like to take a look at her website and see all that she offers to us and to the community, you can do that. And I guess without further ado, it's my honor to introduce Reverend Rainier. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm always so grateful to speak to you wonderful people of this little church with a great big heart. And I just feel, even though I don't get to come often here, I just feel so welcomed and so loved every time I'm able to come. And so there are so many wonderful people that I consider close friends here today, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. The talk title today is Moving Beyond Your Fear and Moving Through Chaos and Back to Safety. And when we begin to think about fear, most of us have experienced fear. Has everybody here had something that caused you fear? Fear is actually a primitive response from your primal brain, and it signals that your body is in danger. And the biological responses, which many of us have experienced, is fear, is fight, flight, or frozen. And what happens in our body, we have these little organs on top of our kidneys. They're shaped like butter beans, and it's the adrenals. And they release adrenaline and cortisol, preparing your body to fight, flight, or to hide. And this chemical cocktail served us when we were gatherers and hunters. And there are times now, if you know you're really in danger, you know to pay attention to that feeling that you get. Today, however, most of us are triggered by this primal response every day. And we're triggered by TV, by radio, by current events, by weather events. So how do we feel when we're under this bombardment all the time? And a lot of us feel overwhelmed. We have adrenal fatigue. We feel lethargic, powerless, sad, defensive, or angry, and even unsafe. Anybody had any of these feelings in the last couple of weeks with everything that's been happening in the world? And there comes a point where we just sometimes don't even know how to pray because we just feel so overwhelmed. And what happens when we move from that place in our life, we are beginning to be defensive. And it's important to feel our feelings, but it can be challenging to feel them and then to clear them. Sometimes we become stuck in a feeling. We over-identify with the feeling, or we equate our worth with that feeling, instead of acknowledging that it's a feeling, something that comes and passes, and let it go. Anybody in here over-identify with your feelings? So, it's something I've had to work really hard at. I'm very empathic, and so when I would feel things, my whole body would become the thing I felt. And then I had to practice feeling things and letting them go, not holding on to them. I'm still working on that one. With our current world events and the natural disasters that are breaking our hearts, and we're just bombarded through the trauma, the social media, TV, radio, newspaper. And so to survive this increasing slew of information, many of us begin to disconnect. And we disconnect from our source. We unplug from our higher selves. We jump out of our bodies. And we begin to act out in unconsciousness. So how does that manifest for you? When you're not conscious and you're moving from that fear place. For me, when I am unconsciously reacting, when I feel unsafe, I start to isolate. I feel overwhelmed. I feel powerless. Sometimes I'll overeat. And I'll become depressed because part of being empathic for me is turning my feelings inward. And then I allow my ego to start telling me stories about not being worthy, about not being lovable. So do you have stories that your ego tells you? Might be something you heard from your parents, could be a schoolmate, but somebody said something at one point that made you think less of yourself. And as we begin to act from that place, we interact with others from that place, and that just escalates our fear. Some of you may choose not to know how you're acting out, but I guarantee that you could spot it in your spouse or partners or your children. Is that correct? You could see somebody else acting out sometimes before you're aware of what you're doing. And we know that when we are hurting and we react, we are increasing the hurt. When wounded people react to each other instead of choose to offer a loving or neutral response, then it escalates. Then people get defensive. Then people take things personal. I know sometimes I take things personal. I'm working on that. I love the 4 agreements about not taking things personal. And I have to catch myself. So something's happening or somebody says something and my ego wants to jump in there and make it about me. And I have to be responsible and look at what part of this is me. People do mirror me. People do show up and torture me in a higher consciousness, which I'm grateful for. Do you have any of those torturers in your life that poke you and poke you and poke you and you end up going to prayer or you end up venting or searching out? They're actually our teachers. And they agreed to come in with us so that they could help us go to a higher consciousness and thinking and being. So do you know when you're reacting versus responding? For me, a reaction is a knee-jerk experience, and it usually doesn't help resolve the situation. And for me, a response is a chosen, thoughtful way to communicate that can lead to deeper intimacy. It's hard to make a conscious choice to relate to somebody from a neutral or loving place when they're yelling or blaming or, hollering and screaming or doing things that people do when they feel ungrounded and unsafe and disconnected. It sort of comes back for me from A Course in Miracles. Many of you are familiar with that, where one of the main teachings of The Course in Miracles is it's either love or a call for love. But it can be very tricky to know that somebody's calling for love when they're yelling in your face. So how do we practice staying grounded in this kind of turmoil and this kind of fear? How do we stay connected to our higher selves and, more important, our bodies? How do we regain that place of this grounded center and that heart space? We can choose to detach from that onslaught of media that just comes at us from everywhere now. Our phones, our iPads, the TV, even your email, social media. So we can practice limiting our time to how much we're exposed to that. I watch very little news. That's my choice. I'm still informed. I just don't choose to watch something 24 hours a day telling me how horrible something is. And it helps me by not watching it over and over and over again. And there's been some studies shown that when we or our children or family members watch traumatic events over and over and over again, it can cause the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, which means that people get stuck in a place of fear and they're unable to move past that. So today we're going to practice some tools to staying grounded and to opening our heart centers. One of the things that we can do is have more eye contact, more conversations. We're so fortunate with everything that we can do on social media that we often are becoming the loneliest people in the world because people have interactions on the phone or Facebook or a tablet, but their actual contact, eye contact, personal contact, FaceTime, is diminished. So it's important to make a point to have that eye contact, have personal conversations, get more hugs. And I'm sure many of you know that a 20-second hug produces the hormone oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone, which is the bonding hormone. 20 seconds may seem a little uncomfortable. We're going to practice later. But when you're in that space, and we'll work up to it, I won't throw you right into it, we'll work up to it. But when you're in that space of letting your body relax, letting your heartbeat move into rhythm with the other person, when you enter a space with them on emotional intimacy. So that's what a 20-second hug is about. It's not sexual, it's all about safe touch. There should be no wandering hands. But those are ways that we can get back in our body, that we can be grounded, we can reconnect with our source. We're going to make some conscious decisions today to detach and unplug from the outer illusions. We're going to really make it our intention to be back fully in our bodies, connected to our hearts. And we're choosing at this time to move beyond fear and chaos, to turn out the outer illusion, or take a nap, as some of us might need to do. But when we're able to get back in our bodies and operate from that heart space, then we are moving from a place of love and safety in our interactions. And moving from a place of love, responding from a place of love and safety, helps us create peaceful relationships. Before we start, I'm going to ask folks to pair up. Carol Ann was kind enough to introduce me. And there is artwork out there. I know we're having lunch afterwards, so they may have to shift things around. But there's an honor box in there. It says Believe. And you can, if you're interested in purchasing my art, you can do it with cash, check, or PayPal, and the directions are outside. And I also use essential oils when I paint. So I'm praying and using essential oils and putting that energy into the paintings. And as Carol Ann said, I do refer to myself as a fun artist. There isn't anything fine about the work that I do, but it's about being in that creative process with the divine. So I'm going to ask you to find a partner, if you would. I'm going to ask you to, if you can, sit sideways or sit with your knees touching. I know the chairs are connected. I'm thinking you already introduced yourselves, right? So bring yourself back to center, back to quiet. I know it's like being in school and having a little recess when you get to talk in the middle of church. So we're going to participate in 3 activities today, and I'm going to lead you through each one of them, and then I'll do a very brief meditation. We're going to do a breathing exercise first, and I'm going to lead you through breathing in and out 7 times through your nose. Breathe into the count of 7 through your nose, and breathe out your mouth through the count of 7. Does everybody here know what chakras are? Anybody need to know what a chakra is? So we're going to visualize it started our root chakra, the red chakra. And I want you to breathe in, and I'm going to start you in a minute, but just to give an example. So I'm going to breathe into the count of 7. And then breathe out. And then we'll move to the next chakra. And I'll tell you which chakra and when to start. Now, if you need to breathe differently than we're doing, please do what you need to for yourself. But rejoin the group when we're breathing when you can. Okay? So take a deep breath. Release everything but this moment. And take another deep breath. And now begin through your red chakra. Breathe into the count of 7 through your nose. And when you're ready, breathe out to the count of 7 through your mouth. Do this for your orange chakra. Now through your yellow chakra. Through your heart chakra. Through your throat chakra. Your third eye. Now through your crown. Now go to your right chakra. It's about 8 inches above your head. Now go to your third chakra. It's about 2 feet above your head. Now start back at your root chakra. Breathe into the count of 7. Breathe out to the count of 7. Go to your orange chakra. Now to your yellow chakra, your waist. Now to your throat chakra. Again to your third eye. Your crown chakra. Again to your white chakra, about 18 inches above your head. Now to your gold chakra. Now to your red chakra. This time visualize your root chakra going deep, deep down into the earth. Now your orange chakra. Now place your hands over your heart. And to your yellow chakra. Now your heart chakra. Your throat chakra. Your third eye. Your crown chakra. Your white chakra. And this time when you breathe into your gold chakra, see it spiraling up to the great central sun into the heavens. Relax your hands. Breathe normally. You can open your eyes or close them. And now we're going to do the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I'm going to lead you in that. For those that don't know, the Ho'oponopono prayer was done in Hawaii by a shaman, and he worked in a medical center for the criminally insane, and they had not been able to help the people that were in this facility. And when he started to work there, he asked for all the records. And when he received the records, he went into the Ho'oponopono prayer. And doing that, through a period of time, he healed everybody in that facility. So the Ho'oponopono prayer is very simple. And I'm going to teach that to you in just a minute. We're going to do it 3 times, if you want to close your eyes, to yourself. So if you want to put your hands back over your heart. And then when I tell you, I'll ask you to do it 3 times looking at your partner holding hands. But I'll have to walk you through each step, okay? And if your partner's asleep, just put your arm around him. Okay, so take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. This first one is for you. And take another deep breath. Let your chair support you. So together, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. love you.
I'm sorry. Please forgive
Forgive
me.
me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. One more time for yourself.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive
Forgive
me.
me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes. Hold your partner's hands. If don't have a partner, you can join with somebody to make a threesome. And you're going to say this. Everybody who is an A, so you're going to say it to each other. So A's, raise your hands. Okay, doesn't matter. B's, raise your hand. So A's are going to go first. So you're going to say it 3 times to your partner, looking in their eyes. And I know you have a C over there, so we'll work that out. So again, take a deep breath. Look into your partner's eyes, and you're going to say this to your partner, A's.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Just keep doing it. And then has everybody had 3 times with one partner? Okay. Now switch and let your partner say it to you. Okay. Now just keep holding hands, and now we're going to say it to the world. Together. Sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I love you. Love you.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Now we get to the fun part. So relax your hands. And I so appreciate you all being willing to play. So now it's time for the 20-second hug. So if you have 3 people in your group, we'll just figure that out. But I'm going to play some music, some chants, and we're going to do, the first one says, let the love in. Let the love in. So person A is going to hug first, and you're going to hug each other, but you're going to hug till I tell you to stop. And then you're going to let the other person hug you for 20 seconds, okay? Let's stand up for this if you're able. Okay. So let's quiet down and find your partner for safe touch and let your heartbeats together. Okay? Seriously, you can. Switch and let your partner hug you. There's some of my knee. Sit down. And my ears stuck with it. It's dragging me. Thank you. You can return to your seat. Chance for joy. Chance for joy. Thank you for being brave enough to participate. Did anybody die from that? So that physical touch, we all need physical touch, and we all need a safe place. And we're vulnerable enough to be in contact with somebody just for 20 seconds. We feel grounded, we feel renewed, we feel connected. So remember that with your spouse, with your children, with your pets, maybe even a neighbor too if you're brave. So I'm just going to do a closing prayer, and then we'll turn the service back over to Dick. So again, I invite you to take a deep breath. Let the chair support you. Mother, Father God, we are so grateful for this opportunity to come together as a community, to share our love and concerns, to uplift and support each other. For we know that our hands and our feet and our eyes do the work of the Holy Spirit. For we know that when one of us has need, you will make a way. We thank you for increasing our willingness to be true to ourselves, to stay grounded and connected to our hearts. We thank you so much for your encouragement through all the realms, through all the angels and all the beings, that are here to support us and inspire us to be holy, human, and spiritual. And we thank you for the grace to forgive ourselves and forgive others, so that we can come from a place of love or neutrality in each life experience. For we know that we are one with the divine. And even if we have concerns, our health challenges, our financial concerns, our relationship problems, work problems, we know that they are only improved when we take a moment and go back to our breathing, when we ask for help. I call my collective group of angels Herald. So when I need help, I just go, Herald, help. It comes from Hark the Herald Angels Sing. So with that, I close my part of the service and I turn things back over to Dick. So thank you so much for letting me be your speaker today.
Thank you.